Okay, good morning again. This is Nick Petro at the National Weather Service in Raleigh with the Friday morning 11:30 a.m. update on Hurricane Irma and as it relates to possible impacts on central North Carolina. So I thought I'd first start off with kind of a current situation. We've got Hurricane Irma there. You can see just north of the eastern portion of Cuba there, and it's on its track. And certainly, we can add the National Hurricane Center forecast track here through the next 3 days, 5 days here, and you can see here's the latest update on the track, on the official forecast track, making landfall in South Florida as a Category 4 hurricane. And you'll notice if you see the categories here, 4 as where it makes landfall, and then you can see a Category 1 by the time it gets up near Gainesville to tropical depression when it passes Atlanta, and then looks like it's going to bend back to the west all the way toward Nashville as a tropical depression. And when you see the track shifted that far west, that's good news. That's good news. And you can see, and also want to just make a quick note of something here as you zoom or take a closer look here on North Carolina right now. Look at those temperatures. Isn't that pleasant for early September? And even dew points. Look how low those dew points are in the low 50s. So dry, stable air mass, plenty of sunshine, great weather here the next couple days and into this weekend. Certainly that is a player, the air mass and the high pressure system to our north. It's bringing us that air mass, obviously, is a big player in the track of Irma, and the fact that we're going to see that shift toward the northwest and lesser impacts on central North Carolina. So let's go ahead and get into the briefing slides, and you can see really the only change since our last set of slides. And by the way, I've already sent these slides out. They're available on our webpage, and they should be in your email inbox. So these slides have already been transmitted. I will add the recording of this briefing as well here in just a few minutes after we disconnect here. But anyway, let's just kind of get into the main points of our what we think is going to happen. Now, even though the track is shifted west, we are not free of impacts. So don't let your guard down. Don't say, forget about this storm. We're not going to see anything. Don't say anything like that. Just still need to, keep your guard up and basically know that Monday night and Tuesday morning, we're going to see some wind and some heavy rain at times. So this is how we kind of boil it down for wind. Wind gusts of 35 to 40 miles per hour is what we're expecting Monday afternoon through Tuesday morning. Now, that's not particularly strong, but that still could knock a tree over or bring down some tree branches. There were a lot of trees that were loosened up on Friday with the severe thunderstorms that moved through. So, so it doesn't take much stronger than 35, 40 to start seeing weakened trees start to lean or fall and tree branches. So, we can't rule out isolated impacts such as power outages and down power lines. So we're definitely not out of the woods there with the wind. Not expecting widespread or long-lasting or sustained tropical force winds at this point in time. In terms of rain, we're expecting about 2 to 4 inches of rain across central North Carolina. The heaviest rain will be sort of on the western portions of central North Carolina, the Piedmont region, the Triad down to Wadesboro and east toward Rockingham and maybe even Fayetteville, with the least amount of rain up toward Raleigh and Roanoke Rapids and sort of the northern I-95 corridors, where we expect the lower end of that range. Widespread or long-lasting river flooding, obviously, with these lower rainfall amounts are not expected. But anytime it rains heavy, if it comes down real fast and real heavy, there could be localized poor drainage flooding. So, we still can't rule out that very localized poor drainage, urban or flashy type flooding, on a very localized basis. So the rain's going to come in probably Monday morning, and it'll last, through Tuesday afternoon off and on during that time. But the heaviest rain is expected Monday evening and Monday night. So that's the time when, if there would be some flooding issues, localized flooding issues, it would be Monday evening, Monday night. Anytime you're on the right side of the track, there could be isolated, brief, and generally very weak, quick spin up tornadoes. That can't be ruled out. That's given the track is so far to our west, though, that's not a huge deal. But if those were to occur, that would be Monday night rather, and late Monday night into early Tuesday morning. So in terms of, again, where we think the biggest concerns are, that would be with the elevated wind and localized wind damage and pockets of heavy rain and pockets of localized flooding. That's an elevated risk for that. The 11 o'clock advisory shown here is, again, a little bit more of a subtle shift westward. Now, I want to call your attention to a very important bullet, the second bullet here. Now, we definitely let me highlight this in every which way I can, because this is important. And this was especially the case with Matthew last year. Was a classic case study of how important this is to keep a note. While the forecast track cone, the cone of uncertainty, that's only a prediction of where the eye or the center of the storm may go. It's important to note that weather hazards and weather impacts can and do occur outside of the cone. So even though, central North Carolina is not in this cone, we're still likely to see these impacts. And that was the case when last year, of course, and many other hurricanes where we weren't in the cone, but we still got heavy rain, flooding, that sort of thing. Again, I'm not expecting a big storm, but I'm just making a comparison toward other storms where we weren't in a cone and did get impacts. Again, we have to remember that the cone is not for impacts. The cone is for where the center of the storm may go. So keep that in mind. All right, let me switch to all right, there we go. Oh, let me clear the screen here, erase that. All right, so what about how much rainfall? Again, this map shows where we think the heaviest versus the least amount of rain will fall. So again, when you get over toward the Triad and points west, basically the I-77 corridor in points west is where the heaviest rain is going to fall, and further south near the South Carolina border into the southeast portion of the state. Well, that's right now where we think the heaviest rain is going to fall. The further east and north you go, like up toward, say, the northern I-95 corridor, that's where we expect the least amount of rain to occur. So that's the case there. Rain arrives Monday, ends Tuesday afternoon, with the heaviest downpours Monday evening and Monday night. 2 to 4 inches of rain, can cause, short duration, localized urban and poor drainage flooding. So that's the concern there. What about tropical storm force winds? Well, this probability map, this is from the National Hurricane Center. This has been lowering and decreasing with each last couple official forecast tracks from the Hurricane Center. But the bottom line here is for sustained tropical force winds, the probability of that happening is only 5 to 10% across most of central North Carolina. When you get down close to the South Carolina border, that's 10 to 20%. But so the point here is the likelihood of tropical storm force winds across central North Carolina has decreased, given that the official forecast track has shifted westward. Nevertheless, a few wind gusts to low-end tropical storm force, say around 40 miles per hour or so, that's still possible across central North Carolina Monday afternoon through Tuesday morning. Now remember, what can 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts do? That can give us a few isolated down trees or down tree limbs, which could subsequently result in isolated power outages. But keep in mind, at this point in time, widespread wind damage is not expected across central North Carolina. That's good news. All right, so let's wrap up this briefing here. Impacts were expected Monday through Tuesday. Confidence is, pretty moderate, although, again, there has been some recent shifts in the models and the track. So, again, we need to keep a close eye and not let our guard down. Even though this briefing, tends to have that feel like it's not going to be that big of a deal, things could still change. The track could still change. I mean, it's looking less likely that changes will occur, but we still can't let our guard down. And like I said, 2 to 4 inches of rain and wind gusts of 40 miles an hour could still cause problems. So there you have it. Those are the main concerns. Certainly, we will be updating these slides right through the weekend. And we'll continue to do these webinars every day, twice a day, like we have been, and until the threat has really completely ended, we'll keep these going. So anyway, if you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, I will be happy to take any questions at this time.